Okay, so this last chapter is going to be about volume and area. Okay, so I had you do this homework assignment to just remind yourself of some of the simple area formulas that you know already. Triangle, 1/2 base times height. Rectangle, base times height. Parallelogram, base times height. Trapezoid, 1/2 times the height times the sum of the bases. Okay, so I don't think we need to spend time reviewing those formulas that you've known since elementary school, right? Were there any that you had trouble with just like getting the right pieces together? Okay. So today and tomorrow, we are going to focus on circles. And then on Wednesday, we are going to focus on regular polygons. So yeah, I know that we know a square, rectangle, parallelogram, but on Wednesday, we'll talk about like pentagons, octagons, hexagons, all that fun stuff. Yes. I put them away for right now so people don't play with them while we watch a movie in Math 8. All right, how do you find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. Okay, how about the circumference? 2 pi r, or 2r is the same thing as the diameter. So if you have the diameter, you can just take the diameter times pi. Okay. Okay, so some of this, I want us to be able to find the area, but I also want us to be able to use our calculators with the pi button. And I also want to make sure that we are using the correct labeling, okay? So in number 1, we are going to find the area. What do they give us? Do they give us radius? Do they give us diameter? They give us that the radius is 12. So if area is pi r squared, then we know our area is 144 pi, which is the same thing as what? In your calculator, I'll show mine over here. You're going to take 144 times. Here's your pi button right here. What's 144 times pi? 452.4. Okay. What would the label for our area be? Aha, square meters, meters squared. All right, find me the area for number 2. And in number 2, what did they give you? What's 18 represent? Diameter, so be careful. All right, Sam, what's 81 times pi? You agree with Sam? 0.5? Gotta round up. Okay, Sam, what's our label? Inches squared. Pencil sharpeners up here. So do you see how it says inches right here? That's how we know.
I was about to say, I know it's inches, but why do we need to square?
So since we're talking about area, we're talking about square units, okay? Like in a rectangle, length times width, we're talking about 2 dimensions. So we have squared units. If we're talking about just a length, we're talking about just units. When we talk about volume, we're talking about 3 dimensions. So now we're talking about units cubed, okay? Okay, now let's go to number 5. Number 5, we're going to talk about circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r, or circumference is diameter times pi. Okay, what do they give us here? Radius or diameter? Radius. So we're going to take 2 times pi times 7. So our circumference is 14 pi, or what is 14 times pi? 44.0. Okay, now circumference, we're measuring the length around the circle. So what is our label going to be? Just millimeters, because we're talking about just 1 dimension here. We're talking about like putting a string and measuring around the circle. Yeah. All right, find me number 7. Yeah. Here, line, line, squiggle.
Make it look like.
I mean, if it's not squiggly, it will still look like pi. Mine sometimes doesn't always have a squiggle. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Oh no, it does need a squiggle. Something's exciting. All right, what's 58 times pi? Okay, and what's our label for this one? Nope. Just yards. Okay, now you guys can do that. Okay, now we're gonna have to work a little bit in order to find maybe like a circumference or a diameter given either the area or their circumference. Okay, so let's look at number 9. Find the diameter of a circle with a circumference of 65.97 meters. Yep. So we know the circumference. Well, we also know that we find circumference by taking diameter times pi, right? So we know that our circumference is 65.97, and we don't know what our diameter is. So how do we find our diameter? Okay, we're going to need to divide by pi. So in your calculator, I want you to take 65.97 and divide it by pi. 20.21.0. And we're talking about diameter, so what's our label going to be? Just meters. Kari must be in that class, huh? I feel like I hear Kari. No, she's not? That's awesome. Okay. Kari has a high pitch excitement.
But Emily is a little bit excited.
I love her credit in there all the time. All right, now number 10, we're gonna have to be a little careful with. Find the radius if their circumference is 21.99 feet. Now we have the radius. Or no, we're finding the radius, we have the circumference. So if we're talking about radius and circumference, well, we know that circumference is 2 pi r, right? All right, so I have 21.99 equals 2 pi r, and we need to solve for r. Please do not work ahead of me on this problem. I know it seems simple, but you're not going to use your calculator, right? What do we need to do to get r by itself? Divide by 2 pi. We are going to need to divide by 2 pi so that those cancel out, okay? Here's the deal, people. If you put in your calculator 21.99 divided by 2 times pi, your calculator is going to take 21.99 divided by 2, and then it will multiply that quotient by pi. Is that what you want? So if you have a product that you are dividing by, you need it to be in parentheses so that the order of operations will be correct. So please type this in, but when you have a product you're dividing by, it needs to be in parentheses. Clark.
It says we have the radius, so we times radius by 2 and plug that in with diameter times pi.
So what you could do is you could find the diameter and then cut it in half. Yes, that would be fine. Yes. Okay. What do you get? 3.5 feet. Thank you for including the feet.
So like on your guys' calculator, it doesn't work if you put 2 pi. I just put 2 pi and I got 3.5.
Yeah, yours is programmed different than theirs. Yeah.
I mean, I have the same.
Okay. Okay, now, if we hop to number 12 on the top of the next page, I'm asking you to find the radius of a circle with an area of 380.13. So what formula are we going to need there? Area is pi r squared. So we're going to take 380.13 equals pi r squared. Now what do we do? Divide by pi. Okay, so we have r squared equals 380.13 divided by pi. So this is what I'd say you should do. Write it down. Well, what did you get? What? 121.0 something, right? Okay. Oh, or was it 120.99? Okay. So leave that in your calculator. What are we going to have to do with our number? To get r by itself, we're going to have to square root it. Okay. So if you put in your calculator if you type in this, so we're gonna have to do the second button and hit the square root. And then you type the second button. There's a key that says answer. I think it's the negative button. If you say it's the square root and then call up second, and then that negative button will call up your last answer, then you don't have to type it in again. But regardless, we got to take the square root of 120.99, blah, 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 blah. What
The
would it be?
root of 121 is 11. So if you
It's
round up-
10.9.
Okay, so in this example, yeah, we had that. I'm trying to help you for when that situation doesn't necessarily occur. So 11, what's our label though? Meh, meh,
Yard squared.
meh. We're on number 12.
Oh, shoot, inches squared? Square inches.
Just inches, people. We're talking about the radius.
Oh.
So our area was in square inches. So our radius is just gonna be in inches. Okay. So you need to think, like, what am I finding? If I'm finding a radius, diameter, or circumference, it's just gonna be the normal inches, feet, yards, meters, whatever. If you're finding area, you need the squared with it. Okay. Now, let's go to number 15. What are we gonna have to do? What are we gonna have to do? Find the area of a circle with a circumference of 26 pi feet. Can we find the area right now? No, what do we need? We need the radius or the diameter to find the radius, okay? So we need to use the fact that we have the circumference of 26 feet. How about I'm gonna give you 45 seconds to find the radius for me? What's our radius?
13.
If we divide 26 pi by 2 pi, our radius is 13 feet.
Oh, I did diameter times,
Okay.
which got me, 13.
Yep. Are we having issues as to why this is 13? I'm seeing a lot of erasers. You what? But now I want to find the area, and that is pi times radius squared. So now we can use 13 for our radius in our equation for pi r squared. And what does that do? 530.9. Check that for me. Okay, think carefully. What is our label for 530.9? We're finding area. Area is gonna have a label of square feet. Or square units. Since we have feet per circumference, area is gonna be square feet.
If we don't have the square,
you will get partial credit. Your label is important. Okay, just like the answer is. Okay, now this one we work backwards. Find the circumference if the area is 289 pi square meters. So this is what I want you to do. Step one, what do we need to find? Find the radius. So please use the facts that the area is 289 pi square millimeters. And I want you to find me the radius and stop. Tell you, it's a nice number. All right, what is our radius? 17. If area is pi r squared and 289 pi is our area, then basically r squared is 289, making our radius 17. Okay, so to find our circumference, 2 pi r. Do you have a question, Harvey? No? Are you sure?
Oh, so this is finding the area?
Well, we took the area to find the
Oh,
radius.
that's the area. Oh.
Yep. Yep, that's why. Area right there. So now we'll use the radius to find the circumference. 2 times pi times 17 gives us. Braden, can I get confirmation? 106.8. Okay, what's our label? Millimeters, circumference, no squared with it.
So circumference is no squared and area is squared.
Okay. Now, turn to the next page. No, turn to the next. Wait. Hold on. Oh, go to page 5. Okay, go to page 5. So I also want to talk about arc length. Okay, arc length is essentially just a piece of the circumference. Okay, so when I'm asking you for arc length, I'm asking you for just a piece of the circumference. And this is how we find it. We are going to take whatever the degree measure is of our arc and multiply it by the circumference and divide by our whole circle of 360 degrees. Okay. This angle over 360 is essentially giving us a fraction for how much of the whole circle we have. And then we multiply that by the circumference. Okay. The circumference is the whole thing. So let's multiply it by whatever fraction of the circle that we have, is how that formula works. Okay. Well, we know that in order to find circumference, we know that we can use 2 pi r, or we can use diameter times pi, whichever one works out better for us. Okay. So if I want to find the arc length in number 10, I want to know the arc length of CD. Okay, what is the degree measure of that arc? (112). Okay, so in order to find the arc length, we are going to take 112 times the circumference divided by 360. Now our circumference, we know that our radius is 15. So we can just say 2 pi times 15. Okay, there's the hard part. Easy part, type it into your calculator. 112 times 2 times pi times 15 divided by 360. How about 112, buddy?
Oh, which one? What were we learning last chapter about the center? With the angles being the outside? Is that like the measure of the?
Like the degree measure.
So it's different from the length of the arc?
So what we're finding is the length. So what'd you get in your calculator, Harvey? 29.3. Okay, so if we were to take a string and we were to put it over that piece, like if this were a piece of string, I could take it and put it on a ruler and it'd be 29.3 centimeters. Okay, the degree measure is 112, right? If we use like a protractor, okay? But the length, like the actual like measure with a ruler length is 29.3. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about NMP. NMP. Okay, if this is 162, what's this cute little angle right here? So like, this is a diameter, right? This is 162. So this is 18, which means this is 18. So what is this entire arc degrees measure? What? 198. So if I want NMP, then I'm going to take 198 times the circumference divided by 360. Okay, well, NR is 8. That's the radius. Yeah. I will when you get back. Did you get 27.6?
Oh, I didn't divide by 360.
Yeah,
I got 27, I got 28, but 27.6. 27.7. Nope, I'm not. 27.6.
Do you have 198, not 199?
198.
That's great.
198 times 2 times pi times.
I do I do 5 times diameter, then I plug that back into the circumference.
Are you rounding when you do this? Like you need to do it all at one time, because if you round and then use your rounded answer, you're gonna be off.
Yeah, I rounded the.
Don't do that.
I rounded the diameter times 5, so that may have gotten me 26. Oh yeah, then I can use it.
Okay, so here's what your homework is. On pages 3 and 4, I want you to do 2 through 14 evens. And then I want you to skip to page 6 and do numbers 11 through 14. Okay?
Yes.
Not random. Do you want me to give you all?
Should we give us